Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network, and you can follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/@RamsUpPodcast. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined often by my football guru, Ian, along with a bunch of other friends of the show on occasion. Let's get to it. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're about to have a great July 4th weekend. Man, one of my favorite holidays. Not quite up there with Thanksgiving, but pretty darn close. Before I move on, I'm going to share a few items this episode, but before I do that, check out Kevin Smith's podcast and YouTube channel, the Call Sheet Daily Podcast. What Kevin does is he invites podcasters and YouTubers from various NFL teams and just talks about their team, kind of shares with the rest of the country how we might feel about our team. Ian and I joined him. You can find that on YouTube and his podcast. That's a Kevin Smith's Call Sheet Daily Podcast. It was a lot of fun. People reach out to me and ask, hey, do I want to talk about the Rams? Silly question, actually. And I think Ian feels the same way. That's good stuff. Check it out. Now, before we move on, it is episode 771. And I wanted to talk about a player who wore number 71. And I think I knew that he played for the Rams briefly, but if I did, I had forgotten, and I was doing my daily research on such matters, and Al Cowlings played for the Rams briefly in 1975 and then again in 1977. He was out of the same high school as O.J. Simpson, played college football at USC with O.J. Simpson, and then was with O.J. Simpson on the Buffalo Bills. And he was also the owner and driver of the infamous White Bronco. So Al Cowlings, a defensive lineman, played a little bit of linebacker, and I think he ended up playing in 19 games for the Rams overall. So maybe that's why I forgot about him. Certainly don't remember him playing for the Rams, but Al Cowlings went on to more fame after football, unfortunately. But if nothing else, he was a dedicated friend. You could do a lot worse, I think, than someone like Al Cowlings, but he is my number 71 for the Los Angeles Rams. What else do we have this episode? I'm not going to talk a lot about this, but Puka apparently having some maternity issues with his girlfriend. And I'm not going to really talk about it. It's Rams news, though. A little disappointing. It's not, doesn't necessarily reflect poorly on Puka. Who knows what went on, but just not happy that there's distractions like this. Hopefully him and his lady figure it out. You can read all about the details elsewhere. That's all I'm going to say about that. And speaking about Puka, one more thing. Who was this that wrote this article? Hayden Winks of the Underdog website was calling Puka the Gen Z version of Larry Fitzgerald, similar in size. I thought Larry was a little bit taller, but they're about the same size, height, and weight. And he made the point that Puka could do it all. You can play him anywhere. He's physical with the ball in his hands. He blocks. Makes all the catches, can get vertical. Now, I can see the comparison, but I'm not going to go there quite yet. Larry Fitzgerald, one of the greatest ever, and one of the class acts as well. And I think it's a disservice to him to make this comparison. I see, early in his career, you can say Puka's on that trajectory to be a Larry Fitzgerald-ish, I suppose. But man, that's a really high bar. But there you have it. That's what Hayden Winks is sharing with us here in early July. And hey, kudos to Puka getting some recognition, getting the recognition every week from all corners of the NFL stratosphere, you could say. Puka Nacua. Now, Puna Ford, he was interviewed. Where did I see this? I'm not even sure where I saw it, but he was talking about how he wanted to stay on the West Coast and in Southern California specifically. And I love these stories because he's a South Carolina guy, East Coast guy, played football at Texas. And I love to hear NFL players celebrating the opportunity to play in California and SoCal. So this is for my buddies out in South Carolina. If you happen to drop in on this podcast, yeah, California ain't so bad. Ask Puna Ford. He is loving it. And he's also celebrating that culture that we talk about so often, that it's he's never been a part of a team that feels so much like a family, fitting in really well. And he may be the most important addition to this team, in my opinion. Devontae Adams aside for a moment, man, if Puna Ford can get this run defense settled, the Rams could be on their way for sure. Now, there was a gentleman, a writer, Jared Feinberg of USA Today. He was talking about the three Rams that he thinks deserve more snaps. And before I looked at his list, thought to myself, who do I think deserve more snaps? And I think it's pretty obvious. Most of us think Tutu Atwell and Jordan Whittington do. And I also went with Brennan Jackson. I don't know if it's about deserving more snaps in Brennan Jackson's case, but I certainly want to see more snaps, give him an opportunity, maybe before Josiah Stewart. It all depends on who delivers in camp, of course. But those are the three guys. And Feinberg, solid list, I think. Well, the first two, Blake Corum, I get it. And I'm going to make that argument once again. I see Blake Corum as the backup to Kyren Williams. And I see Jarquez Hunter as the change of pace back who could end up getting more snaps if the Rams are going to mix it up offensively. Corum's going to be more held in reserve, I think, and Hunter is going to get more snaps. So I could be completely wrong on that because we've seen how McVay handles rookie running backs in the past. Kyren Williams and Blake Corum are great examples. And Jarquez Hunter has to prove that he can pick up blitzes and such. If they're bringing in Hunter as a third down change of pace guy, you want to be able to get out in the pattern. You want to be able to bust long runs, but you also need to be able to block and pick up blitzes. So I'm not sure I'm feeling it as far as Blake Corum deserving more snaps, but I see where he's coming from. Bo Limmer deserves more snaps. Well, let's think about it. Doesn't really make sense if you think about this because he had almost all the snaps at center last year once he won that job. I guess Jared is projecting that Coleman Shelton is going to obviously get more snaps, and he's not happy with that. But let's wait and see. I feel bad for Bo Limmer. Hopefully he's not, paying the price for a couple of bad plays in a playoff game. But he may deserve more snaps somewhere along that line eventually. We'll just have to wait and see. And Konate Mumpfield was his third guy, and I'm not feeling that yet, deserving of more snaps. I mean, on my list, I had Atwell and Whittington. Mumpfield is going to be the number 6 wide receiver at best. I'd be surprised if he's any higher than that. Maybe number 5. So, yeah, let's hold off on Mumpfield to deserving more snaps. Let's see how his rookie year goes first, shall we? And Nate Landman. Now, this is courtesy of my two, Cameron DeSilva, I think, is my favorite Ram writer because he keeps it real. He doesn't, no flowery writing. He sticks to the information that I want to hear about, and that's what he shares. And I think that's what's most important. That's what I enjoy. And he adds his perspective sometimes. And he was talking about Nate Landman and interviewed Greg Williams, the Rams inside linebacker coach. And by the way, Wyatt Miller, another Rams Wire staff beat writer, contributed to this. And Greg Williams saying that Nate Landman is fitting in seamlessly, as he put it. And this is a big deal to me because Landman is definitely going to be a big addition in this run defense from a run defense perspective. Now, if you're running Poona Ford, Nate Landman, and Omar Speights out there, maybe it's going to deter teams from running, and they're going to get the ball to their tight ends and their running backs out of the backfield. But I still like the idea of having a solid run defense. And it remains to be seen, which linebackers are going to get the most snaps. I know I've shared that I've seen Troy Reeder listed as the starting inside linebacker along with Speights on Our Lads and ESPN. And I'm with you, Ram fans. I don't expect that to be the result. A lot of you think Reeder won't even be on this roster, this 53-man roster. That's very possible, but I'm starting to feel really good about Nate Landman's chances. Then there's Sean Dolek, of course, the unrestricted free agent. I think he's more of a long-term answer. He has some proven to do, but the Rams have some options here. As Cameron and Wyatt wrote in their article, Rams didn't do anything flashy addressing shortcomings at inside linebacker, but they have added some guys that, I feel really good about it. Landman, Dolak, and Paul, of course. Dolak's got to make the team, I get it, but still feeling much better about where the Rams are headed at the inside linebacker position. And Nate Landman, great tackler, really good against the run. And I think we're going to see him a lot, especially in the early going. And maybe eventually Paul displaces him. Paul may displace him on third downs, that type of thing. Maybe we'll see a line change, against on passing downs for Speights and Landman come off the field, and we see the extra dime defensive back and someone like Paul. We'll have to see. I'm going to have to talk to Ian about that. He'll probably have a much better feel for how the Rams defense may flex depending on the situation. And Jerome Bettis. I'm going to talk about Jerome Bettis for a moment. I've always had a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth regarding Jerome Bettis and his departure from the Rams. I've felt like, the Rams didn't treat him quite right, but I also felt a little bit was on Jerome. He wanted out of St. Louis, and he got out of St. Louis. But I got to give him credit. He still sees himself as half a Ram, I think, despite his great years in Pittsburgh. And he was talking quite extensively just the other day about how he sees the Rams as the favorites to win the NFC West, and he predicted a Rams-Eagles NFC Championship game, essentially. And reading what Jerome said, he has his finger on the pulse of this team, talked about what a great young defense they are, how the running game is going to be solid, and how their quarterback is great. And he said, hey, they're just maybe one piece, one elite cornerback or one elite DB away from being a very, very special team. And I think we all feel like that, I think. So Jerome, kind of nailing it. And I was really happy to see him talking up the Rams. I don't think I've seen him do that before, not that I'm aware of. But Jerome Bettis, he's in the Rams camp this time around. And, I'll have to see what he's saying about the Steelers. If he's pumping up the Steelers, then maybe it's just a case of him pumping up both of his ex-teams. I think the Steelers' defense is going to be really strong, but I have questions about their offense. But back to the Rams, Jerome Bettis really liking the Rams' chances to get to a Super Bowl here. Thinks they're one of the best teams. He thinks the 49ers, by the way, will be good but not great, and that's the difference. Rams should be able to take care of the 49ers. This is what Jerome's telling me. So 49er fans, don't get mad at me. Get mad at Jerome. Jerome Bettis loves the Rams again. So that's all I got. Ian and I will be back here in July 4th, we're probably going to record, and we'll have something later July 4th. And then we'll be on a Seattle Seahawks podcast in the next couple of weeks. We'll be joining them, the Hawk Zone, to talk Rams Seahawks, and lots of good stuff coming at you. Enjoy this weekend once again out here from Rams Up. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.